Again, the word we comes to mind. Continuing, to achieve the goal of the curriculum, then, you cannot listen to the ego. Its purpose is to defeat its own goal. The ego does not know this because it does not know anything. But you can know this, and you will know it if you are willing to look at what the ego has made of you. Well, what has the ego made of you? Well, it's made an orphan of you. It's made a miserable son of a bitch out of you, who struggles through life in a world that is at odds with it. A world that is constantly threatening. And it does all of this right in the middle of the kingdom of heaven, because the kingdom of heaven is the only thing the ego has to teach you anything about. And it's convinced you, the Christ, that you're just a puny, little, insignificant, separate mortal in the human condition. And you believe it. But now you would say, well, I don't believe it completely anymore. This is kick-ass week. And I'm saying to you that you're too complacent. You're not as ignorant as you were, but you're not as aggressive as you could be in disciplining your thoughts more, so that you are bringing your thoughts into alignment with the truth, intellectually speaking, as best you can, so that the intent of the way you are using your mind is more in harmony with God's purpose, which makes it possible for you to slip into clarity, at least momentarily, now and then, enough to supply you with vision with a capital V that spurs you on to be even more aggressive, more committed in abandoning what doesn't work. So you can know that the ego's purpose is to defeat its own goal. And you will know it if you are willing to look at what the ego has made of you. This is your responsibility, because once you have really done this, you will accept the atonement for yourself. That's what I said in different words. You will find more commitment, more resolve, and you will accept what is your birthright for yourself more willingly, because you just don't find it valuable to play with things that sting you, to play with things that may be curious and interesting, but which never give you a moment's peace. Like, what would it be like to stand on an anthill? Or what would happen if I hit that hornet's nest with a stick? It's interesting, but unpleasant. Why do it? Again, this is your responsibility, because once you have really done this, you will accept the atonement for yourself. What other choice could you make? Having made this choice, you will begin to learn and understand why you have believed that when you met someone else, you had thought that he was someone else. You know, someone really different from you. And because he's really different from you, his motives, his attitudes, his goals may be different from yours, incompatible with yours. And so because he is truly, totally different, you better be careful. You better be constantly on guard. And you haven't said a word to that person, but your behavior will bear out your, quote, on guardness, unquote. Again, repeating, having made this choice, you will begin to learn and understand why you have believed that when you met someone else, you had thought that he was someone else. And every holy encounter in which you enter fully will teach you this is not so. So, do you want to have an encounter that teaches you that it isn't so? Or do you want to have an encounter that teaches you that it is so? If you want to have an encounter that teaches you that it is so, then look with your eyes to get and make an assessment based upon your defensive attitude, which was expressed in looking to get. And be miserable. On the other hand, if you look with the intent to give, when you're looking at anything with an intent to give by virtue of your attention, an acknowledgement of God, an acknowledgement that if anything is there to experience at all, it must be part of the kingdom of heaven. It must be more than you're presently seeing. And you wish to acknowledge as much as you're able to of God there. And you are interested in seeing the more of God that is there in the branch or the pine needle or the trunk of the tree or the clouds behind the tree. There you're looking to give, not to get. There you're looking to acknowledge and be curious about what is true, which constitutes a desire for illumination. Where in your mind, what? A sudden shift of perception, a miracle. Continuing, you can encounter only part of yourself. Emphasize the word yourself, don't emphasize the word part. You can encounter only part of yourself because you are part of God, who is everything. His power and glory are everywhere. Why? Because everywhere and everything is God expressed. is the visibility and tangibility of God expressing, making the gift of His attention upon His own infinitude and recognizing Himself in it. Continuing, His power and glory are everywhere, and you cannot be excluded from them. The ego teaches that your strength is in you alone. The Holy Spirit teaches that all strength is in God and therefore in you. But there you go. You got to remember who your Father is. You've got to abandon the pleasure and the satisfaction you're getting out of being an orphan who's overcoming the odds that stand always in the way of an orphan. The Holy Spirit teaches that all strength is in God and therefore in you. God wills no one suffer. He does not will anyone to suffer for a wrong decision, including you. Now, that statement needs to be written down and posted on each of your refrigerators. It is essential for you to know that God is love. That no matter how ignorantly and stupidly the Christ that you are has behaved, once having decided to look at everything privately and independently, God does not will you to suffer for a wrong decision. Therefore, you have no penalty to pay. You will not be sentenced for your stupidity. Having to serve time, as it were, before you can receive the Father's love once again. God does not will anyone to suffer for a wrong decision, including you. Therefore, no matter what suffering you might be going through right now, it is not at the hand of God. It's at your own hand. It's the result of the poor use of your mind, which just now you are beginning to understand can be put to a better use. And you are being called upon to make the change where it will be effective, which is in your own mind, and which amounts to your neglecting to bear false witness against your brother or yourself by rehearsing the misperceptions about your brother or yourself. And also being able to disregard the expressions of others' misperceptions about you. Again, He, God, does not will anyone to suffer for a wrong decision, including you. That is why He has given you the means for undoing it. See, instead of punishing you, the Father gave you the means of undoing the stupidity. And what was the means? This is where the sheer beauty of reality and God comes into play. Your means for undoing it is the Holy Spirit. Which is nothing more than your right mind, which has been held in trust because it couldn't go anywhere, while you chose to dally with and identify yourself as an ego. The beauty of it and the integrity of it is that the answer to your problems is yourself with a capital S. Continuing, through His power, God's power and glory, all your wrong decisions are undone completely, releasing you and your brothers, there's the we again, releasing you and your brothers from every imprisoning thought any part of the sonship has accepted. Wrong decisions have no power because they are not true. The imprisonment which they seem to produce is no more true than they are. You see, how could you possibly be punished for something that hasn't happened? Or punished for something that you never did because what you thought you did was impossible and was never accomplished. You see, that's part of the joy of awakening, is discovering that everything you thought you ever did that was opposed to God, you never did, and it never was accomplished. And that's why it doesn't take time for it to be undone. That's why there can be instantaneous healing. That's why there can be light bulbs going on, and aha, and sudden perception of the truth. Because that which blocked it isn't real. Continuing, power and glory belong to God alone. So do you. There's we transformed into us, which is more of a oneness. Power and glory belong to God alone. So do you. God gives whatever belongs to Him because He gives of Himself, and everything belongs to Him. Giving of yourself is the function He gave you. You see, your being is not different from God's being. That is the state of being. Giving of yourself. That is what being is. And that's why the art of getting, if I may put it that way, the goal of getting is so out of place. Even though it's almost the entire bottom line of your present sense of existence. Again, giving of yourself is the function He gave you. Fulfilling it perfectly will teach what you have of Him. And this will teach you what you are in Him. See, you got to annul the divorce. Got to be willing to look like a fool. Hey, I recognized my mistake. I want an annulment. I'm going to annul the divorce I imagined I got, and I am not going to behave stupidly anymore. It was an interesting experiment in the impossible. And I'm finally willing to acknowledge that it was something that could never be done. And you know what? I've got better things to do. I'm no longer interested in pursuing the impossible. Continuing, you cannot be powerless to do this because this is your power. Glory is God's gift to you because that is what He is. See this glory everywhere to learn what you are. This week, if you choose, I invite you to use your eyes as consistently as possible for the purpose of making a gift. A gift of recognition of the divinity of the one you're with, or the thing you're looking at. A gift of willingness to see more of God there than you've seen so far. What you sow, so also shall ye reap. What you give, you will be able to keep. No, what you give, you will unavoidably have. So be careful what you give. Be careful. Be full of care in what you give. Practicing a little self-discipline is like cleaning your glasses. It gets rid of everything extraneous to what's essential. Yes. It's going to be more work than the sloppy way you have been using your mind so far. It's like saying, well, I never washed my glasses before. I'm going to have to go all the way into the bathroom and turn on the water and dry them off and make sure I get them totally dry so they don't rust. What a pain. you'd better start doing something different from what you've done before if you want to have a different experience. And if the experience you're having now is specifically due to the way you're using your mind right now, and you'd better make a choice for a different teacher if the experience you're having right now is a result of the teacher that you're currently employing. You know what? No matter how aggressively bad news presents itself to you, no matter how aggressively bad health presents itself to you, be diligent. Refuse to entertain the presentation, the gift that's being given to you. Contradict it. And contradict it with the truth that you know, the best truth that you know at the moment. Why? So that your thinking is more parallel, your mind is more parallel to the mind of God, so that the bridging can occur more easily. And it will occur if you persist. Ye shall know the truth, okay? Meaning, you employing your mind to be conscious of the truth, the highest and most true truth that you're aware of. Ye shall know the truth, and in that parallel alignment with the Father, it allows the truth with a capital T to bridge the gap and make you free. It isn't a matter of ye shall know the truth, and the truth that you know will make you free. You shall know the truth because you've made a choice for God, and the harmony of your mind will allow the penetration of truth with a capital T to occur that illumines truth to you, setting you free. So, let this be a week of discovery. Discovery of the benefit of not bearing false witness against your neighbor or yourself. Of not rehearsing the misperceptions, the illusions, and painting pictures for yourself, or allowing other people to paint pictures for you that you must immediately sit down to purge, to correct, to replace with the consciousness of truth. And realize that in order for the consciousness of unity to replace the consciousness of confusion that you're experiencing, you must include and embrace your brother as yourself. as not different in any way from you. Meaning that what is true of him is in no way different from what is true of you. And therefore there is no reason, no justification for standing away in an attitude of defense from him. You may have to disagree with his misperceptions, but you will do it knowing that he is the Christ, just as you are. And that in your disagreeing with his misperception, you are not joining with it, confirming it, and keeping him in the dark, but you are joining in brotherly alliance with what is divinely true about him from what is divinely true about you, confirming it. I love you all. And I look forward to being with you next week. Next week is going to be fun, too.